The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is November 26, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 895, and today, Genesis Turkey. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
And today, according to the Canary Cry calendar, which is your source for all truth, other than the Bible, 1789, first National Thanksgiving in America. So we are technically on the anniversary of Thanksgiving today, not tomorrow.
1789.
Yeah.
Wait, today, on the 26th? Oh, I forget that it's a Thursday.
What's happening?
Stir up some controversy. Rattle if you can.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa, bro.
That was not what I planned to do. That was crazy.
The Genesis turkey is
The
walking
Genesis
on the
turkey.
soundbird. The soundbird. Oh, soundboard. Goodness gracious. It's a weird day today, folks. It's the eye before the storm. Many of you will be out traveling today, preparing, trying to save your strength and find rest and relaxation before Thanksgiving starts. I was supposed to be traveling on this day, but I'm cutting it close. Gonna cut it close. Gonna leave tomorrow because, well, we got to do a show today. This is very important. That being said, hey, we understand. The biggest reason why we're recording this show today is so people have something to listen to tomorrow while the cookie Turks.
You're really having it today, huh?
It's a hard day today. It's freezing,
folks.
In the studio.
You should have heard the groan.
Lots of complaining.
The groan of Basil right before we hopped on here, and I gotta admit, I feel very similar today.
A
Very
lot
groggy.
of groaning today.
Yeah,
Foggy. Yeah, right.
Creation, fallen creation.
Tired. We're just trying to survive here, man. I think maybe our bodies know what's coming up. Like it knows Thanksgiving's tomorrow. It's like, no, today is for recouping. Build your strength. You're going to need it tomorrow. We're going to be so full, and you're going to do so much exercise. What exercise? Well, we'll get into the exercise psyop here in a moment. But a big shout out to everybody who's hitting us live today. But look at the numbers. Yeah, it looks like people are busy today. Looks like most people are pretty busy here the day before Thanksgiving.
Well, I mean, it is 69 years since the formation of Operation Gladio being established today.
Also, another important thing. You're making a really good case, Gonz, for why people should go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up for the supply drop, support your favorite show, and get the Canary Cry calendar. It's going out. They're probably at the printers like right now. The deadline to sign up for the supply drop, the last supply drop of the year, which is always the best one, partially because it comes with the Canary Cry calendar, a treasured artifact.
Man, something's going on with the jingle board today. It's got a mind of its own.
There is never necessarily a guarantee that there will ever be another Canary Cry calendar, just so everybody knows. This is put together by producers of the show, totally out of Gonz and I's hands, which is a selling point, by the way. This could be one of the reasons why you actually want to get it, is because Gonz and I have nothing to do with it. It is part of the miracle that is the value for value model. So go to Cage Rattler. Oh, geez, I saw the message.
I know. I'm sorry.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll go to Cage. No, don't go to Cage. Don't go in
The
the cage.
canarycrysupplydrop.com. That's where you go outside the cage to get your
And
supply.
not only will you be getting the Canary Cry calendar, your favorite objects on this planet, but you'll also be receiving a half gold back. That's right, a half gold back from goldback.com. Go check it out. Listen to our interview from last week with Jeremy Cordone, the CEO of that company. They are making not currency, but negotiable instruments made from real gold to solve the spending problem. And not only have they invented and very high-tech manufactured this negotiable instrument, as we continue to follow the many states now who are making gold technically legal tender, it's like, what are you going to do? Walk around with a gold bar? No, you need your gold bills. And so it's a revolution. It is one of the ways that normal, awake people who see what's coming with CBDC, who see what's coming with the dystopian beast system economic future, this is sort of a parallel revolution happening at the same time. And there are thousands of businesses in the country, probably near you. You can check at goldback.com, who are taking goldbacks as legal tender for their services and products. And if you know any small businesses, they can too. It's very simple. But you can start your journey towards the, I would say, positive parallel economic revolution by getting on the Canary Cry supply drop. Get your first gold back. Big apologies to international supply droppers. We are unable to ship these things overseas. We apologize, but we'll make it up to you somehow. We promise. Okay, yes, and you got the message up there. We're getting this message from Cage Rattler Coffee. Cage Rattler Coffee special now through November 30th. That's also the deadline for the supply drop. Save 10,000%. I almost said $10,000. Save 10% on a one-time purchase with
Basil has not had his Cage Rattler coffee this morning yet. I think this is why we are struggling. So actually, I got my coffee here. I need to take a couple sips before we continue.
Play the jingle while you drink your coffee.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Here you go.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. Go to cagerattlercoffee.com. This is coffee roasted, packaged, sent, coordinated, inventoried. I don't know, whatever businessy terms you want to use. It comes from Canary Cry listeners, Canarians of the highest order. It's for Canarians of the highest order. That's you. You can go to cagerattlercoffee.com. Every purchase supports the show just a little bit. And there is also the new Coffee of the Month Club subscription there for everybody who is asking for that. There you go. There's some opportunities to get some real bang for your buck. We all are feeling the heat this year and this season. So we want to make sure that even in our desperation, we are making choices, making moves financially that are of the utmost prudence. And these are two ways that you can do that. All right, let's get into it here. I think we just need to start with the silly stuff. Here's the thing. I'm going to call this silly. It is silly, but like everything else, it's deadly serious. There's some sort of psychological operation, if any, out of all of the holidays that we are supposed to be celebrating. Thanksgiving is a very interesting one, and I might want to start off with this just to get the ball rolling here, Gons.
Is it the
Clubhouse, Canary Cry Clubhouse last Thursday? Unfortunately, we'll not be doing a Canary Cry Clubhouse on Thanksgiving Day. Sorry about that, but can't wait to do it next week. There's a lot of discussion, as there always is this discussion with our community on this show. Lots of people out there trying to figure out what the right move is when it comes to celebrating the various holidays. And of course, you know, we've all gone through the obvious ones, lots of very good discussions about Halloween and church, trunk or treats or harvest festivals or whatever, and the sort of dubious history of Halloween, Samhain, these types of things. Christmas, another obvious one, of course, dating back to the very beginning of our journey of understanding what's really going on in the world. Christmas, the pagan roots of Christmas, the attempt by Christendom to integrate these pagan celebrations and these pagan people around the world into more of a Christ-focused the whole thing. It's the Christmas trees, the Yule log, the Yule cat. We have not talked about the Yule cat in a way. Yulenkitten, not going to talk about it this time, but a famous Canary Cry topic here, the Yule cat. Go look it up and watch out. If your children do not wear their new clothing for the Christmas days, the Yule cat will steal them from the forest. So listen up, young ones. But Thanksgiving, right smack dab in the middle of these two pagan holidays, is an interesting one, Gons, because there is really no sort of officially recognized like paganness, no like historically verifiable pagan roots, barely even anything that you could call Christian roots. So this conversation of like, is it Christian? Is it not Christian? Is it, is it pagan? Should we even attempt to? But what really Thanksgiving represents is something altogether different, and yet similarly deserves our sort of intellectual rigor. And that is a holiday entirely created out of nationalist mythology. And for those who have been with us for a long time, you'll understand when you hear that idea, national mythology, we're talking about structuralism. We're talking about the religion that is nationalism, these types of things, because of course even Wikipedia has its own page for the Thanksgiving myth, and you read it and it's quite clearly a sort of social justice type of thing that puts its hands on its hips and says, well, the Thanksgiving myth is a myth because the Pilgrims weren't nice to the Indians, and the Indians didn't teach us about corn, and we weren't friends, and that's just all wrong, right? We already know this. But it harkens back to discussions we've had with Dr. Michael Bennett, Dr. Future, about the very real, very specific, very intentional, and very documented attempts of American government leadership, not just finding ways to mark out the holidays, the changing of the seasons and things for American citizens, but also to tie that in to the religion of sort of American nationalism. Now, don't get all mixed up with the word nationalism. Of course, this pops up a whole lot now. Some people are very proud of their nationalism. We're not talking about sort of the political stance of nationalism, but it's the mythology, the myth building, the social engineering, the sort of group unifying psychological mechanisms that the elites have used for eternity, but Thanksgiving being kind of weird in this way, that it's not necessarily, especially for those of us who are trying to be aware and intentional about being careful not to celebrate things we shouldn't be celebrating or worshiping things we shouldn't be worshiping. Thanksgiving at its core, of course, is to give thanks for all the blessings that God has given the settlers of America, and today the people residing in America, for specifically our country. And the American myth, or the Thanksgiving myth on Wikipedia, of course, wants to destroy this story we've been told about how the Pilgrims were good guys and the Indians were good guys, and the good guys got together and they had a lot of corn and taught them how to eat turkey, this sort of thing. But again, back to sort of the structural idea of it, this is one of those ones that seems to be seems to have been crafted in such a way that if you are an American or you want to be an American or whatever, this is one where it's almost like a blank slate. That's kind of the beauty of Thanksgiving. It's just about giving thanks, and that is good. As Christians, of course, that is good. We want to do that. In fact, we want to do that every day. On Canary Cry Clubhouse the other week, I brought up, what was it, Romans 14, 1 Corinthians 10, these biblical discussions by the early church about God will give us each a conscience about how we are to act, what we are to celebrate, what days we hold as special, what days we hold as not special. And the early church, church has these conversations ever since the beginning, and encouraging the people of God or Christ followers to not split up over these sorts of things. But I will say I haven't heard a whole ton of hullabaloo about why I don't know, if Christians shouldn't buy into sort of the pagan ritual of the turkey roasting and this and that. Have you heard of any of this?
Not really. I haven't
Not
come
really.
across too much of it. Yeah.
Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful that it's sort of at least from the sort of Christian perspective, not necessarily like a huge point of contention. But at the
Not
same
yet.
time,
We'll come up with something. Somebody will come up with something soon.
at the same time, we see story after story after now, you just scroll through your feed of turkey content, Thanksgiving content, but you'll notice culturally that does exist kind of on the left. It does exist in the sort of secular stream of liberalism, where Thanksgiving is bad because it's a lie. Thanksgiving is bad because it's the white people coming to America. Thanksgiving is bad because you have to sit and share a meal with your Trump supporting family. So, I think it's very interesting. And we saw this specifically during election year last year, and maybe the few years before that, where there was huge mainstream pushes and Psychology Today and all these really big sort of social engineering, psychological influence from the mainstream, encouraging people, saying that it is the right thing to do. They are good people for dumping their family on Thanksgiving, for not engaging, for breaking contacts. And don't worry, here on the left, we're your real family. Go have your Friendsgiving. And this is when Friendsgiving really made it into kind of the broad mainstream lexicon, right? Now, Friendsgiving's been around for a long time. Usually it happens a couple days before or after Thanksgiving, where young adults can get together with their other young adult friends and do Thanksgiving their way. There's nothing wrong with that. But it came to this point where it's about your found family, Gons. If your parents don't agree with you politically, or if your uncle doesn't agree with your lifestyle choices, dump them, get rid of them. You don't need your family. Go have your Friendsgiving. And this really got established as like a well-known, regularly celebrated alternative, not just addition, but alternative to Thanksgiving. Well, this year, Gons, we're seeing the cycle start up again. And because Thanksgiving is this sort of national mythology, this this holiday fairly unbound by tradition, by historical context, at least in the broader scheme of history, the beast system has an amazing way of sort of recreating it every year. And this year, there's a couple new rituals that are being added to the Thanksgiving lexicon or codex of ritual or worship. And I want to start with this first one. There is a second one, and it may sound silly, folks, but but we can have a little fun, we can have a little laugh. But also, as we know here, there's, you know, some very serious things that are going to be signaled to us looking at these next couple of articles. And Gons, it does have to do with sewer surveillance and pharmakeia.
We'll control them with toileting.
Toilets! Toilets!
And Pharmakeia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Smooth. This is coming from usatoday.com. The headline in the health and wellness section, written by Julia Gomez, says, "Time for a Thanksgiving fart walk. Here's how it can help you."
Fart walk.
Now, this is not a joke, folks. I get it. I would never attempt to make any sort of joke about something so serious as the sort of pagan infiltration of human ritual, because as we know, human attention, human ritual on the broad scale, like a national holiday, has a certain kind of spiritual power, spiritual warfare happening all around us, and in the mechanisms of the occult or various forms of magic, mass celebration, mass attention does have a certain seriousness to it when it comes to the casting of these spells. It's Thanksgiving, and those pants are feeling a bit tighter than before dinner. While it might be tempting to curl up on the couch and take a nap, a classic Thanksgiving, ritual, Gons, consider going for a fart walk instead. Marilyn
Okay.
Smith, the award-winning cookbook author who popularized the term, recommends taking a short walk after dinner to help with digestion and bloating. May I just make a comment? If there is anything in the, let's say, assumed dangerlessness, these sort of broad, safe, vanilla aspects of perhaps magic in society, the cookbook, I think, might be the closest thing we have to like an old school grimoire.
With grimoire, I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like the American grimoire through food.
I
Food
mean,
being
and it's amazing too, at least for me, and I get it. I'm not everybody. There might be other people with different experiences, but I am absolutely stunned about how like a cookbook industry even exists. And I'm not putting down cookbooks, not putting down people who use cookbooks. I'm just saying, with the internet, with all the AI, with the sort of what do they call it? Voice activated devices like your Alexa or your this or your that. The fact that there is a fairly thriving industry for cookbooks, actual books with paper, which contain mostly pictures of food, with, in a way, we talked about the formatting, and this was something we noticed ahead of time, but then was actually written up by Harvard. The formatting of legal texts being a reflection of how grimoires were formatted, and spell books were written back hundreds of years ago. In the same way, the cookbook kind of has a weird similarity, in my opinion, but that's not necessarily what this is about. However, Marilyn Smith, award-winning cookbook, grimoire, spell book author who popularized the term being fart walk, recommends taking a short walk after dinner to help with digestion and bloating. Quote, "Going on a fart walk after dinner is something that is going to help you age wonderfully." Okay, so this is to promote longevity, to perhaps find eternal life here on Earth, a sort of transhuman system mission.
We're turning it into a transhumanist mission, is to go on a fart walk.
If grimoires have one thing in common across the board, it's the search for eternal life.
It's true. It's modern alchemy.
That's right. So going on a fart walk will help you age wonderfully, Smith said in the TikTok video. Speaking of spell books, the name of the stroll may induce laughter, There's nothing funny about it. But cultures around the globe believe in the power of the short walk after a big dinner. In Italy, it's called la sabeggiata, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. And in China, an old proverb advises, quote, if you take 100 steps after each meal, you'll live to 99. Some old Chinese magic here. Here's what to know about fart walks and how they can benefit you.
Here's what to know about fart.
Here's what to know. Okay. You
Why?
got to know these things.
I like the picture of people walking through the airport. What are they? Is people farting in the airport? Is that what's going on?
Oh, airports are fart central, Guns. You know that.
Fart central.
But that's much like what is written in many spell books. You have to be very specific. Okay. You might think you know what a fart walk is, but you don't want the spell to go awry. What is a fart walk? A fart walk is a stroll you take within an hour after eating a meal that helps get the stomach moving and could reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
Hey, there you go.
Pretty strong.
Listen, there's a
strong
huge
thing.
industry. Diabetes is a big chunk of big pharma.
That's right. You can cure.
Poison the people, get him diabetes, and then have all the treatment for it. This is going against big pharma.
They already killed the ostriches whose
Yeah.
eggs were going to cure diabetes. Now they're dealing with some very powerful magic here with the fart walk, threatening the profitability of big pharma. According to Right as Rain, a publication from the University of Washington Medicine. I didn't look at that. Okay,
I'm taking a peek. Yeah, go ahead.
Another article about it. What are the benefits of the fart walk? The benefits could include the following, according to Right as Rain. Open up your bowels and empty out your stomach quickly. Well, hopefully not too quickly. Alleviate bloating, reduce acid reflux, moderate blood sugar levels. In general, there are also plenty of other benefits of going on walks. According to the Mayo Clinic, going for walks can help adults lose and maintain weight, prevent conditions such as heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, strengthen muscles and bones, and improve cardiovascular fitness. That's right. This apparently, taking a walk is the key to immortality. Adults should aim to complete a 30 to 60 minutes of aerobic activity most days of the week. According to the clinic, one way to accomplish that goal is to walk for 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Who should go on fart walks? And this is one of the keys. People who are 35 and older could benefit most from going on fart walks, as the chance of developing type 2 diabetes rises for those older than 35, according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. But children and teenagers can also develop the disease. I mean, it is post-COVID, Gons. Anything can happen to children.
Yeah.
The following can also increase the risk. Okay, we know what the increased risk of, being overweight, having a family history, not being physically active, having pre-diabetes may increase your risk of having diabetes.
How come all these people it says here, people who are African American, Native American, Asian American, Hispanic, Latino, or Pacific Islander have increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes?
Good question.
There's a common theme there.
The American.
I mean, Asian American and Pacific Islander, I don't know. I remember having to fill out some forms and I had to choose between like Asian and Pacific Islander. And I was like, I don't know. What am I? I'm Asian, but I'm also technically from a Pacific island.
Technically a Pacific island, yeah.
I think I just clicked white. Go ahead.
When should you go on your Thanksgiving fart walk? Aim to go on a walk within an hour of eating your Thanksgiving meal. According to the University of Washington, blood sugar usually spikes after an hour after eating a meal, so the optimal time to go for a walk would be before that happens. Smith recommends walking span from 10 to 20 minutes after meals. Quote, it's these little things you do on a regular basis that can have a big impact on your long-term health, Smith said in her video. Thank you, Smith. So we have this addition. Now, of course, there's lots of Thanksgiving traditions. Some people play football. Some people, do some sort of outdoor activity, even if you're just standing in the brisk cold of a beautiful Thanksgiving afternoon. But this fart walk, albeit a silly name, putting some pretty serious life and death consequences on taking the Thanksgiving fart walk. Now, that's for people 35 and older, which brings me to the next ritual that is being
Hold on. Before we move too far off the
Okay.
fart walk thing here, because we did introduce it as a sewer surveillance type of situation here. The couple updates. This is according to unionleader.com. Manchester, this is over in the UK, I believe. Manchester ex-employee, or maybe it's in Boston. I think it's in Boston. Manchester ex-employee alleges improper surveillance by Boston Water and Sewer Commission. So people are getting they're up to speed on this sewer surveillance, and they're calling people out. So that's a great sign, I guess, that more people are aware of it. And second of all, we're talking about farts. Basil, do you know about Fartcoin?
Yes, I am aware of
Very popular, got to multi-billions of dollars in market cap value. It's a meme coin, crypto. Look at the chart. Well, first of all, the chart is terrible. It went way up and then it's, kind of did a thing. It bounced and it was really, really low. This news of the fart walk is pumping the fart coin charts, baby. So congratulations to all you fart coin holders. We're in a recovery phase.
I would say it's probably thanks to me. What is your time? What are those bars?
These are weekly bars.
Weekly bars.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is
They are going up.
Yes, I mean it's the Thanksgiving week. It's the week of the fart walk. So obviously this is going to get a whole bunch of people to spend money they don't have on a meme coin they shouldn't buy. So, but congratulations to the fart coin holders, because it's a good week. It's a good week for fart coin holders.
What happens when somebody uses your brand to introduce a Thanksgiving ritual?
Yeah.
Now,
okay, there you go. All right, next part here.
This year's Thanksgiving surprise. And here's the thing, folks. I'm not trying to cause any trouble in anybody's family, but I'll say to anybody who might be threatened by this next presentation, everybody already knows. It's okay. This year's Thanksgiving surprise, half of the guests are stoned.
Half of them, huh?
Half of them.
So can I just
suspect? It does seem pretty high, doesn't it?
That does seem high. Like I have some family coming over. I got my sister, her husband, and their daughter and stuff. So I can just assume that one of them is going to be high at the very least.
Half of them. Well,
half of both. There's 3 of them, so Yeah.
Ever notice at Thanksgiving dinner when certain members of your family return from walking the dog or picking up more ice, you're suddenly a paragon of wit and insight? You're not. They're just high. Thank or blame the cousin walk.
Oh.
The cousin walk. Had you heard of the cousin walk, Gonzo?
No, I have not until this article came out yesterday or something, a couple days ago.
The term is shorthand for the moment when a certain younger members of the family quietly grab their coats, glance towards the door, and clutch those pearls, get stoned before rejoining the festivities with altered minds and ravenous hunger. Quote, "We kind of look at each other and go, 'Ready for that walk?'" says Priyanka Pulajal, 36, a Los Angeles cannabis enthusiast who never hits the holiday without a stash. Quote, "We have a couple puffs and just laugh about something, roll our eyes at our silly uncle just to have a good time." What started as a subversive activity among dedicated stoners has mushroomed into a full-blown tradition. Like every other holiday, it's gone commercial, with marijuana legal for medical use in 40 states and recreational use in more than half of those. The industry is seizing on the popularity of the pre-turkey toke to boost business. This year, don't be surprised if grandma gets a little loopy after toasting with a cannabis-infused beverage in her wine glass, or your aunt brings 2 varieties of stuffing, one made with pot-laced rosemary oil, one without. Oh, there's a way to spice up the Thanksgiving dinner. In a way, wasn't this inevitable for a holiday that's always been all about the munchies? The cousin walk, which also goes by no name and many names. I mean, if there's any more occult phrase to say about anything, I don't know what it is. He goes by no name, and yet many names. Cousin walk, Thanksgiving walk, and pre-dinner safety meeting. That's a pretty funny one. Pre-dinner safety meeting is big enough to spur sales on what's now known as Green Wednesday, a marijuana buying version of Black Friday, the day before Thanksgiving. Dispensaries say it's often the second biggest day for cannabis sales after the pot celebration day 420 on April 20th. Snack businesses have slyly marketed to this group of buyers. Pre-Thanksgiving dinner cousin walk, one Instagram ad for Jif peanut butter read last year over a picture of a guy holding open his jacket with a Jif squeeze pouch tucked inside. Hidden Valley's Instagram featured a promotion for a Taco Bell collaboration last Christmas with a reference to the cousin walk, next to a picture of purple Taco Bell box and Fire Ranch dipping sauce. This could heal me. Please. It goes into the New York dispensary Gotham just released ads for a product called Cousin Walk, a container of pre-rolled joints that travels easy for what the company calls a secret society that meets once a year. In a new video advertising the item, a group of cannabis users head into the fall air to get high. A serene voiceover coos that amid a holiday cannabis break takes the edge off obnoxious relatives who won't stop talking about crypto, vaccines, and other people's life choices.
Okay.
Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it?
Wait a minute. Is this a way to just say that, just the blanket label of anybody who brings up vaccines or, any kind of conversation about that stuff or COVID or whatnot, they can pull out are you high?
They're driving their
You're
family to drug
high.
use to celebrate. Now, here's the thing. This is not just drug use, Gons. And we've talked about this what I'm about to introduce. We've talked about it in relation to lots of things. But the basic concept is once the money is involved, it becomes real, whatever it is. We've talked about it when it comes to crypto, when it comes to this and that. And, again, with the sort of supernatural worldview, understanding there's spiritual mechanics going on in the world and the not unreality of occult, esoteric, not just belief systems, but spiritual mechanics being taken advantage of, not just by weirdos in robes or the elites or something like that, but the masters of the economy. And money, especially in its fiat form, is given power by, of course, those in the sort of elite circles, the rulers and masters of the minds of men, the social engineers, who all happen to be occultists. Money being one of these reagents, these ingredients in various spells. If you want to make something real, you can use this currency, or you can use this sort of in their view, magical substance that is money. It's alchemized human value and labor into something that can be used to then express power or to give legitimacy. And what this whole article is about here is the money making this new ritual, formalizing this ritual. Of course, this practice has happened forever, much like lots of various rituals for holidays. But once the money gets involved, that's when it really takes hold. Same with Christmas. We've talked about the origins of Christmas, not just the pagan origins of Christmas, but the fact that, 100 years ago, Christmas wasn't actually even a big deal. Christmas didn't look so much. You would go to church on Christmas, and that's primarily what would happen. It wasn't this gigantic economic festival that lasts 2 months. Santa Claus in his current form was basically invented by Coca-Cola, etc. We see this across the board with a lot of different holidays. Once the money, once the economics, once the sort of magi of economy and power in this world decide to make something real, they apply the money, they make it about the money, and that solidifies it. In the same way they program any piece of culture, they program any behavior into society. We are seeing that happen here, formalizing and traditionalizing the cousin walk. And of course, like I said, something that's not unheard of, but now very well, I mean, in sort of idiocracy form, could see this becoming like an actual part of the holiday, like an actual real part of the holiday. Of course, mixing it up with pharmakeia. And substance use and these sorts of things is not insignificant. And in fact, we've seen that become one of the primary ways of social engineering, not just with things like marijuana or illicit substances, although also that, but pharmakeia being wrapped up in the pharma industry, in SSRIs, and this and that, taking antidepressants is like a fashion symbol now among the young people. It's this glitzy lifestyle thing that you show off and you have in common with other people, and it's like a status symbol. And just another example of how pharmakeia and beast system economy come together to formalize, solidify, and not just introduce, but to canonize something like the cousin walk into the holiday. And it's mentioned here a few times, it's mostly younger people who, are the celebrators of this. And so I think it's interesting how at the same time we have the cousin walk for the young people and the fart walk for the older people. You might think, well, these are two totally different things, but they're not quite. When you see the world in the way that we see the world here, the older people going on fart walks, a quest for immortality, a quest for this, transhumanist control over biology, which can extend your life, make you younger, do all these sorts of things. And the younger cohort here, under 35s, having their own sort of pharmakeic ritual to, in this case, like I said last year, actually the past couple of years, we've looked at different traditions, and I mentioned the one where just leaving your family, just not going to your family Thanksgiving, forget your family, they're Trump supporters, could just go hang out with your friends, have Friendsgiving. And there was, quite a radical numbers. I think it was 2023, I think it was a couple years ago, where the numbers on the amount of young people who just cut ties with their families entirely, specifically for politics, and would push towards, something like a Friendsgiving, was enormous. This was not an insignificant sort of cultural event. It was very significant. And now we're in a place where, okay, maybe go see your family. Yes, your Trump supporting family. Yes, the ones that question your life choices. But, there's a little bit of pharmakeia here to help you survive and perhaps even have a bit of a better time. And I think these are the types of things that you keep an eye on year after year, and you can watch, much like anything we really pay attention to on this show. You can see what's coming, you can predict the future, you're not taken by surprise when suddenly holidays are not what they used to, and you wonder, how did this happen? And you can be sure that it wasn't on accident, Gonzo.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. I'm curious why they want everybody walking outside.
Another good question.
Whether if it's a fart walk or a what are they calling this? The
cousin walk.
Cousin walk, yeah. What is it about walking on Thanksgiving Day? Like, what are they testing? Because there's data gathering agendas, and perhaps they're trying to see if people will actually react to this type of messaging or propaganda.
Yeah, well, they need everybody outside so they can, target them with the space lasers or take pictures from the spy satellites. But even if that weren't the case, yeah, I bet there's some very interesting data to be gathered in mass. Just when it comes to like cell phone data, where
That's what
did
I'm
people
saying.
walk? How fast did they walk? It could very easily be an extremely effective targeting tool, even for something as simple as like ads, you know.
Oh yeah.
And with the details they're given, you know, you think about the algorithms that are always spying on you. They're always doing it. You have your phone on you. Everything you do is being recorded. Even stuff you don't think is possible to record is being recorded. And all these things, the rate at which you walk, the route that you take, the amount of times that you stop, the heaviness of your breathing or your heart rate on these walks, all goes into the algorithm that will decide what to advertise to you. So it could be an extremely effective, even at the most mundane, set of mass data collection, even just for that. However, the AI is definitely going to be involved. I think the AI is the one pushing to make these things.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe they're trying to get everybody to fart openly on Thanksgiving Day so that they can really bring back the whole methane argument for climate change. You know, they can come up later, a couple of years later, say, hey, 2025 Thanksgiving, Americans, you know, expelled the 3 trillion tons of methane through farts into the streets, and you know, we noticed a drop in the ionosphere. I don't know, something to kind of justify some kind of control mechanism.
A measurable increase of greenhouse gases. You know, this is let me just give you a few more here because I think it's interesting in the context of the conversation. Not everyone is amused. Just this month, Congress significantly narrowed the definition of legal hemp. Okay, so it's talking about Congress there. Critics consider marijuana a threat to public safety and a health risk that's particularly inappropriate at family gatherings where children are present. Hiding the activity from disapproving kin as much as a person reeking of weed can is part of the fun for participants.
It's part of the
fun. It can be a two-way act. Some of those familial squares know exactly what's happening outside, even if they act like they don't. So, like all rituals, those included and excluded, you know, play a part in it. In this case, they're like, yeah, if you're the square, you're playing your own part in it. Quote, the first rule of cousin walk is that we do not discuss the cousin walk. Landon Bryant, 37, a writer and influencer from Laurel, Mississippi, says in a TikTok video about the tradition, gossiping about other guests is key to the experience. He says it's like an honor to be discussed on the cousin walk.
Okay, so all right. Jeez. I mean, this is starting to sound pretty I don't know, almost heretical, you know, like, oh yeah, go gossip out there or inside the house, whichever, you know, it's and
in an interview,
indulge in the
that's right. Well, as many heresies do here, it's of course being propagated by the masters of culture. Says in an interview, Bryant says he and his cousins never actually get high on their walks. The worst they've done is smell up the house after rolling around outside with a couple of dirty beagles. Okay, that's
so they're weird. More he's over 35, so maybe he's just farting.
I was gonna say he's 37, so he's actually talking about a fart walk. But it says the main point is the fellowship. He says
the fellowship.
It's the bonding moments that you remember. So it's about bonding.
Let's invite some dudes over in fellowship tonight.
The tradition is not without complications. A couple of Thanksgivings ago, Pulijal, who is a creative director of the cannabis brand Miss Grass, says some anti-cannabis relatives saw cousins leaving and wanted to join them, not realizing what was afoot. Quote, we're like, no, we just want to catch up. You can stay here. Eventually, the relatives figured out what was happening. Pulijil was busted, yes, but daunted, no. The cat's out of the bag, she told them. This is why we're going on a walk.
You skipped the whole paragraph about Stony McBlaze.
I did.
Also,
I skipped a lot because
Chris Saye, who's 33. Always got to quote a 33-year-old pro-cannabis chef.
The signal is out.
In an article. Yeah, the signal is out. Okay. All right. So yeah, be skeptical of anybody who wants to go outside tomorrow, folks, especially the young people.
this is the problem, that a national mythology holiday that doesn't have its roots in religion or its roots in something ancient, right? Is that the controllers of the culture, it's like a blank slate. They can make it whatever serves them. And in this case, we can be guaranteed that this is somehow going to be a very important aspect in the AI taking over the world.
Yeah, I would imagine so. By the way, just as a side note, because I have looked into this a little bit, back in 2020, there was a report that came out, cannabis and frankincense at the Judahite shrine of Arad, and it's one of the only times that some kind of this is 8th century they're saying, so it's a few centuries after the closing of canon and stuff. But in Israel, some residue of cannabis being found at some kind of ritual site.
As someone who experimented with being a Rastafarian when I was 16, that was my big rebellion, because Rastafarians love Jesus. They mostly believe the same sort of salvific theology, with the exception that you're not going to heaven, you're going back to Africa, which makes it a difficult thing to do as a white kid, white 16-year-old kid.
But I want dreads, Mom.
Yeah. But yes, I am familiar with the scriptural defense of cannabis, and it was specifically with some of these ritual mixtures of incense and things used.
Right.
In Hebrew culture.
There's plenty of evidence that the ancient Egyptians and Assyrians and Scythians and Persians, they all indulged in the plant.
This is
So,
we are not condoning Cousin Juan.
No.
We're not condoning PHARMAKEIA, but it's important that we're all aware of this. And
Yeah.
I'm also not trying to get anybody in trouble. So, hey, be cool, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. We're just kind of a quick show today because Gons has to get going, get ready for Thanksgiving. So do I.
Gotta brine the bird.
Brine the bird.
And we got praise and pie later
Praise and
tonight at the
pie.
church. So I'll be singing some hymns and eating pie.
Just a quick, we had been sort of building this presentation over the last week because it answers some questions that we've had over the past couple weeks and maybe even this year, and was sort of delighted, kind of disappointed, but it is, things happen the way God wants them to happen. It just so happens that AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, had a moment where she kind of spilled the beans when it comes to a movement, when it comes to AI, B system technocracy, this kind of stuff. But I think we need to give AOC her due, because one of the biggest problems that people are having right now with the, let's just say, Republican establishment, the neoconservative establishment, is the enthusiasm for marching right into some of the disastrous economic circumstances and technocratic circumstances that apparently people on both sides have their own way of being concerned about. So let's play this clip from AOC. This is her giving a presentation here in a hearing, and we'll stop it along the way and support it with some data.
Okay, first of all,
artificial intelligence. I'd like to thank the subcommittee for holding this important hearing and the witnesses for offering their expertise. Many of the stories that we've heard today about the deadly consequences of some of these AI chatbots are pretty extreme and horrifying. We're talking about suicidality. We are talking about people entering AI psychosis in some circumstances. And I think it's important for us to take a step back as to why and what is driving the openness to these models, allowing this to occur in the first place. And I want to also shed light on what that means about an economic story about AI, in addition to a psychological story about it. Dr. King, have you seen companies change or evolve their privacy policies or other kinds of policies as they seek greater profitability models?
Certainly, we've seen them change their privacy policies as they've rolled out AI products.
Yes, and I imagine some of this has to do with their business model, correct?
Yes.
And I think when we talk about why AI models are going to such extremes and some of the extreme outcomes that we are seeing in terms of how people are using AI, in terms of emotional companionship, to, again, extreme cases of suicidality or psychosis, this also, I think, tracks with the pressure that these companies have to turn a profit that they have not yet proven. Just this morning, the Wall Street Journal reported a significant drop in the US stock market with the headline AI bubble fears hit stocks. Now, this also contrasts with what we've been hearing from the Trump administration, that the economy in general is thriving. And he's been saying that the economy is booming, but it's only 7 tech companies that are booming: Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta. And they're
that was only 4, but
it's 4, but okay.
She is talking about the Mag 7, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
driving this growth in just one sector, AI. So the entire US economy growth can be tracked down to 7 companies and their AI growth specifically. At least 40% of economic growth this year is attributed to these companies alone, and 80% of stock gains this year came from AI companies. But people are justifying these levels of investment because of the promises that the CEOs make that there will be a return on that investment. Let's pause right there
for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we get into the return, yes, this is something that it's very, the timing of this series of events we're going to go through is very interesting. It was last week and a little bit of the week before that the news cycle was absolutely dominated with AI bubble. AI bubble. Is the AI bubble popping? We saw the market take a bit of a tumble. We saw crypto take quite a bit of a tumble. And this fear and this chatter about AI bubble. Is it popped? Is it popped? Peter Thiel says this, and this person says this, and the whole thing. It was pretty much the whole week was talking about the AI bubble, and people learned about the AI bubble. Headlines went back and forth about, is it not? Well, Warren Buffett says this, well, blah, 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 which the timing, is very interesting. Now, what she's mentioning is something that started picking up narrative speed, I'd say, earlier this week, maybe over the weekend. I want to show you this article just a moment here. This is the Washington Post being mirrored by MSN. It says the S&P 493. Usually that's S&P 500. The headline is the S&P 493 reveals a very different U.S. economy. On its face, 2025 has been a good year for the stock market. And we keep hearing that. The S&P 500 is dragged out of its tariff-induced springtime slump by a small subset of AI-forward power player whose particular gains defied an otherwise softening economy. Even now, despite a rocky November, the benchmark index is up more than 12% since the start of last year. And this has been a big problem in the sort of conservative space, because while there are certain good numbers about the economy, people are not feeling it. Things are not feeling great for most people.
Yeah.
It says a group of trillion-dollar brands known as the Magnificent Seven. That's Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla, has been at the forefront of those gains, thanks in large part to corporate spending and intense interest in artificial intelligence. But the economists and investors are raising concerns about the companies that aren't part of the AI investment boom. In other words, most businesses in the United States. Now, I want to jump over to this image here, this graph. You can actually see the performance of the top 7 companies that we mentioned versus the performance of the rest of this S&P 500, the S&P 493. And it starts at about 2019, this particular graph. 2019, and it goes until current day. The Magnificent Seven themselves start at the exact same spot because they're starting at 0% growth at 2019. And by the end of the graph to current, the Magnificent Seven, which is AI, pretty much entirely AI, is up 1,057%. Just a really impressive graph. Beautiful graph. Love it.
Lovely.
Graph
Beautiful
go
graph.
up.
Yeah.
Graph go up. That's what we like. But the rest of the S&P 593 has only gone up
493. Yeah.
493, 132%. So still not bad gains necessarily. In fact, it's what you'd sort of expect, what you'd hope for in sort of normal situation. But 1,057%, it's basically about 10 times, maybe about 8 times higher than the rest of the economy. And you can, so you can technically say GDP, and we've mentioned this on the show, that GDP is doing great. The market's doing great. And Trump is hammering this home, no matter what anybody says, that GDP is great, growth is great. And it is great, but only because of artificial intelligence. Another thing to keep in mind when it comes to GDP and it comes to these growth numbers, this includes investment. So not just sales, not just products that people buy, not just the business being profitable, it includes investment. And it's, as you can see here, it's pretty much purely investment. These big companies, not just like hedge funds and investments, financial companies buying into AI, but also AI investing in each other. So you have, OpenAI investing in Alphabet, who's also and they're passing around hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of dollars between the Magnificent Seven, which is creating this, in such a case, an illusion that things are really good, that things are great, even though nobody experiences that, and it just happens to be, mostly just investment, not actual business being done.
Right.
And this all started come to light last week, and people are seeing this going, oh my gosh, the entire economy is resting on 7 companies. And even so, they're all resting on just investment, this promise of AI drawing in the billions of dollars, all the propaganda about AI, the promises of the future, etc. And so let's, the timing is incredible on this. Let's let AOC talk a couple more minutes here.
Okay, let's go back to AOC.
So for a company like OpenAI, their value is based on the expectation that they're going to figure out how to make a profit out of it. And they haven't. And so generating this increased human dependency that can be mined because it's not subject to HIPAA. Is that correct, Dr. King?
Right, it's not subject
It's
to HIPAA.
not subject to HIPAA. So people's deepest fears, secrets, emotional content, relationships can all be mined for this empty promise that we're getting from these companies to turn a profit. And the reason I bring all of this up is because the exposure of this industry and this investment, I fear, has reached broad levels potentially of the American economy. When we're talking about 40% of stock growth in the United States being attributed to these companies in the AI sector alone, and that sector has not turned a profit, we're talking about a massive economic bubble. And when we've seen depending on the exposure of that bubble, we could see 2008 style threats to economic stability. And that pressure.
Economic stability has been under threat for much longer than 2008, by the way. The 2008 stuff was definitely an outward working of it, but like the economic threat of the entire system has been a topic of conversation for a long time, especially since, 1971, 1933, the whole deal. So
yeah, the whole thing kind of thrives on threat. And she actually, even though she's laying out the timeline and the facts here, she's actually missing the the best point, and we'll get to that in a second.
Is reflected on the extreme lengths that these companies are going to allow unethical human interactions with these chatbots. I say this because I want to say also on the record that should this bubble pop, and I say this for my colleagues here, should this bubble pop, my colleague from Massachusetts mentioned the level of AI lobby that occurs here in Congress. Should this bubble pop, we should not be entertaining a bailout.
Aha.
We should not entertain a bailout of these corporations.
Why is she sounding like a conservative
Yeah.
that wants to fix the system? What's going on here? I told you, Basil, beware of AOC in 2028.
No, it's
she might
true.
be coming.
It's really it's kind of the bizarre. It's the magician's trick that we're watching right now when it comes to the sort of ideological flip, and a lot of people aren't seeing it. And it's not an accident. It is. You're exactly right. I mean, I think this is depending on how things play out. She as long as she starts a podcast, she might be.
Yeah, she needs a podcast
for 2028. Right. So she's talking about the bubble popping. She's talking about not giving a bailout. Like, okay, all right, yeah, good. We shouldn't do any government bailouts. Let's let her finish.
As healthcare is being denied to everyday Americans, as SNAP and food assistance is being denied to everyday Americans, precipitating some of the very mental crises that people are turning to AI chatbots to try to resolve in themselves. So I think it's very important that we get on the record and state that. And I'd like to thank the witnesses for offering their insight today.
Very important to get on the record, AOC.
Get on the record to not bail out. Not bail out the big tech or the AI bubble if it bursts or as it bursts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is also very interesting because it is reminiscent of 2008 because nobody wanted to give the banks bailouts. The left, the right, they all agreed, don't give the banks the bailouts in 2008. It's their fault. But too big to fail came in, and Obama betrayed the left, like real actual ideological left. He is he was a schemer. His entire cabinet was given to him in an email by Citibank, and he wasn't what he claimed to be. And I'm thankful now to know all sorts of people, but the people in my left who do consider them on the left hate Obama for the things that he did and the trickery that he pulled. And it kind of seems a little bit like AOC is positioning herself in a similar way. Now, back to the business here, just a quick headline from Fortune. OpenAI won't make money by 2030 and still needs to come up with another $207 billion to power its growth plans, HSBC estimates. And just to summarize, OpenAI is not profitable, never been profitable, and in this case isn't even planning on being profitable until 2030. And even to make it to 2030, they need $207 billion to even make it there. Another great headline with this story was OpenAI needs $207 billion by 2030 to stay unprofitable, meaning probably won't even make money after that. And so, we're in this kind of weird moment where the numbers don't lie. The GDP is what it is. AI is obviously, again, to the biblically prophetic part of it, anybody with two eyes and a brain between their ears has seen that AI is sort of the stepping stone. We're on the roadmap to the sort of dystopian technocratic beast system, Revelation 13 style. And you can see the elites moving toward this at all costs, literally sparing no expense. I mean, it's like Jurassic Park, so I spare no expense, simply to get the AI economy so weaved into everything, forcing it. Really, they're like forcing a a square peg into a round hole, but finding a way to make it work for really we don't even know the promise anymore. Like, we don't even know why or how this will do anything except for create the worst case scenario that we all know is possible. However, Gons, of course, the conservatives would never want to give the AI companies bailouts. We don't believe in bailouts, they say. They scream from the rooftops. But just days after the AI bubble popping, is the AI bubble popping? Is this happening? Is it going to happen? Oh, we're all doomed. The market's going to crash. There was a very creative announcement, very creative scheme, which I think will ensure that we won't need to give AI any bailouts. And that was what we mentioned at the end of last show, which is the Genesis mission.
The Genesis mission has arrived. This is the U.S. Department of Energy posting a graphic that says Genesis mission has arrived. They say the world's most powerful scientific platform to ever be built has launched. This Manhattan Project level leap will fundamentally transform the future of American science and innovation. And it says here on the graphic, quote, throughout history, from the Manhattan Project to the Apollo mission, our nation's brightest minds and industries have answered the call when their nation needed them. Today, the United States is calling on them once again. Under President Trump's leadership, Genesis mission will unleash the full power of our national laboratories, supercomputers, and data resources to ensure that America is the global leader in artificial intelligence and to usher in a new golden era of American discovery. What are we trying to discover, Basil?
It's Genesis, Guns. It's the beginning. It's the creation. Even the name itself is hearkening to this. Hey, we are building a new world. We are building a new creation story. And this is what it is. Now, the Genesis mission, we do have the White House announcement on this, and just put a little official language on it. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered from the founding of our republic. This is the purpose. Scientific discovery and technological innovation have driven American progress and prosperity. Today, as America is in a race for global technology dominance in the development of artificial intelligence, an important frontier of scientific discovery and economic growth. To that end, my administration has taken a number of actions to win that race, including issuing multiple executive orders and implementing America's AI Action Plan, which recognizes the need to invest in AI-enabled science to accelerate, blah, blah, blah. We know this. Goes on. It's the great mission. The Genesis mission. This order launches the Genesis mission as a dedicated, coordinated national effort to unleash a new age of AI accelerated innovation and discovery that can solve the most challenging problems of the century. The Genesis mission will build an integrated AI platform to harness federal scientific data sets, the world's largest collection of such data sets, developed over decades of federal investments, to train scientific foundation models and create AI agents to test new hypotheses, automate research workflow, and accelerate scientific breakthroughs. The Genesis mission will bring together our nation's research and development resources, combining the efforts of brilliant American scientists, including those at our national laboratories, with pioneering American businesses, world-renowned universities, and existing research infrastructure, data repositories, production plants, and national security sites to achieve dramatic acceleration in AI development and utilization. We will harness, for the benefit of our nation, the revolution underway in computing and build on decades of innovation and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no, innovation in semiconductors and high performance computing. That's where a lot of the Mag 7 stuff comes in.
Sure,
the seven AI companies being perhaps the seven heads if there's like a council of 10, 7 heads and 10 horns. By the way, was that a real picture that people were sharing of like the 7 big tech companies, the people all hanging out? Did you see that one, Basil, where like Elon Musk is smoking a cigar, and like there's the guy from the Nvidia, and they're all hanging out? Is that a real image or is it a fake one?
I didn't see it. I'm not sure.
You didn't see it? Okay, I'll
No.
pull it up.
The Genesis mission will dramatically accelerate scientific discovery, strengthen national security, secure energy dominance, enhance workforce productivity, and multiply the return on taxpayer investment.
There it is. Okay, so they're going to unleash technologies that they've been hiding for a while, which has been sort of a thesis of ours for some time here, maybe Trump being involved with that. And then also,
it's money, baby.
Yeah, it's money. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you gotta have the money.
The Manhattan Project, comparing it to the Manhattan Project and the Apollo mission, 2 American pieces of history where, again, no expense was spared. There was not a single dime that they wouldn't spend to win these races as a matter of whatever. And they're talking about taxpayer investment, deploying the resources, this and that. And they name all sorts of fancy science stuff. But the real key is the money. And this came out the day or 2 after the news cycle about the AI bubble sort of came crashing down, and AOC makes this presentation, et cetera, et cetera. We will not bail them out. We're not going to bail them out because we're not going to need to bail them out, because they basically have a blank check from the government. They don't need to be profitable. They don't need to make money. They don't need any of this. And one of Elon's things before he left Doge, and before Doge basically went away, and that was very, sad for the Elon people and the Doge people. I mean, we're in a moment now where all of the promises that Trump supporters, all of the promises that kind of Trump made in almost every category, it's now starting to dawn on people like, oh, he's not actually going to follow through with all this. And it's, it's ripping the right apart. Marjorie Taylor Greene just said she's leaving.
She's quit. Yeah, she quit.
January 5th. And there's rumors that there will be more people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who will be leaving Congress, just resigning. Which will be sort of apocalyptic, because then the Republicans won't have their majority. It'll be a whole mess. Who knows if she'll actually follow through? Could be a big scheme. Who knows? But it is devastating for the Republican Party as an establishment to have people like Massey, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like these, people that at least their brand is a little bit more like conservative of the people kind of thing, bailing, because it'll basically strip Trump of his any sort of leg up that he had because of the majority. Now, we don't need to bail out the AI companies because they will have an absolutely blank check from the Genesis mission to create whatever the AI ruled country in 2030, blah, blah, blah.
Well, this has been Trump's thing for every time, we've been paying attention to the crypto stuff. Anytime crypto gets asked, Trump has had a pretty straightforward answer, which is, well, we're going to dominate AI. And so he was answering with AI every time he got asked about crypto. So this is starting to make sense now that all of this technology stuff is tied together to this one big thing. And, the Genesis mission thing, obviously triggering, Christians and believers, they know about the book of Genesis. And this comes at a time also when Trump came out and said, we're going to make Christianity great again, or bring Christianity back to America, or whatever he said a couple days ago. So it's interesting. It's almost like they want to blind Christians and get their full support for this endeavor.
Yeah, it has, you're right, endeavor. The sort of Christian language to it.
Yeah, using the Christian language.
This isn't just AI either. This is building the data centers. This is building the nuclear reactors.
The robotic laboratories. This is a flippy update. I mean, this is like the ultimate flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
A new life form, Basil. A new a new life form is born, and Trump and the Genesis mission. This is the injection of breath, some
Out of
ruach into
out of
to the robot factories.
Yeah, out of all the things that we've been following for as long as we've been doing this, Gons, I mean, over a decade, every story, every flippy update, every, biblically prophetic, thing we call out, current event, whatever, it all basically culminates in this. It's like, this is the one thing, the announcement of everything, we and people like us have postulated and theorized for decades. This is the announcement. And when it comes to the economy, get used to this, because no matter what it is like, economically for regular people, the graph will always be going up. Because remember, the GDP, the performance of these companies in the stock market, it's all buoyed by not just investments between each other, which they'll continue to do, but investments from the government.
Right.
And they just said there will be endless amounts of resources pumped into these companies. And so the graph will continue to go up. There will be no AI bubble in the way we think of it, because it is now basically the faith of the US government will be reflected in the eternal upgraph of at least the Magnificent Seven. There could be others involved too. This is also the reason for Venezuela. This is the reason for all sorts
everything, all the things,
Yeah.
all the resources that the nations are fighting over, especially America. It all has to do with it. It's almost like, instead of a bailout, because this is a quasi, it's like a pseudo bailout, it's not like a direct bailout, but it is it
erases the need. It like deletes even the idea of a bailout. This is like saying, the US government will need to bail out the US government. No, there's no bailout, which is going to politically sort of stabilize this idea of bailout. We're not going to bail them out. You're right. We're not, because we're giving them endless amounts of money.
We just turned the printer on, and now that we've captured all the resources, and look, there's a list here of things that this I guess it's an executive order. It's what it's going to help do, and it has advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, which is a big topic that we've been covering in the context of the Genesis 6 stuff and the transhumanist stuff, critical materials, maybe antimony, maybe some other things, nuclear fission and fusion energy, which I find interesting because there's been some development there. Again, I feel like this is all part of, allowing a rollout of certain technologies that have existed. Quantum information science, I think that's interesting. They don't say quantum computing. They say quantum information science. And then semiconductors and microelectronics. So there you go. And these are all things that are so important for the infrastructure of the future, the technium, the techno dystopia that we've all been talking about for so long. And Trump is just like, here you go. Here's endless money.
And it's all made even possible financially by the Genius Act. Okay. So this connects to the Genius Act, the CBD. I'll say CBDC, the central bank digital currency. We know that it's not an official CBDC in the traditional thing. They're talking about bank stable coins, where every bank can make a stable coin and equal those stable coins to the deposits. Now, right now with fractional reserve banking, which is not, there is no fractional reserve banking. They can lend out every dollar you give them. They don't need to have a reserve, which was the downfall of fiat currency that came from COVID. Now, the Genius Act is kind of that times 10, because what we know so far is that the banks, the same ones that do all the transactions, not just personally, but for governments around the world, they are in the process of, and some have even deployed this already, the new banking rules, thanks to the Genius Act and other things, include the ability for a bank corporation to create their own stablecoin. Okay. And this is under the guise of they can take in dollars, and then what they do is the amount of dollars that they take in, they duplicate in stablecoin. So they have the same amount of money of cash you give them, they duplicate it in stablecoin, then they can borrow against their own stablecoins for another sort of column of currency. So now they instantly are able to triple any amount of money held by a bank or, gone through various financial routes, I suppose, can instantly triple, because we're obviously in a really 5-alarm fire when it comes to the national debt. They're talking about the 37 trillion, the 38 trillion. We got to stop deficit spending. We need to do this. We're never going to pay our way out of 37 trillion. There's not enough money on earth. There's not enough dollars on earth for the country to ever pay this debt. The debt is there forever. There's nothing we can do about it. But really, the genius of the Genius Act is that we don't need to pay our way out of the 37 trillion. Previously, in the old way, basically what you would do is devalue the currency. So you would devalue the dollar. So you still owe the 37 trillion, but it's easier to pay because dollar isn't worth what it used to be.
Right.
You inflate your way out of this debt. And we've done that for decades as well.
Yeah.
But now it's to a point where even that is too much. If they can't inflate the currency enough to get out of
it's a delicate balance. You
would,
inflate it too much. It's great for people holding debt because they owe less when it
world.
comes to purchasing power. But yeah, you're destroying the world.
It's impossible now to inflate our way all the way out of this debt. But you can do a couple of things. One of them is, you do some inflation. You're going to do some inflation. That gets your debt down a little bit. But then now with the Genius Act, you can duplicate every dollar like 2 or 3 times using this kind of cryptocurrency scheme. So between the inflation of the dollar and the multiplication of, again, even more invented, invisible fiat currency than even fiat currency is. You're just photocopying, more or less, the fiat currency that exists and spending those photocopied things. It's this mixture between the CBDC thing, the inflationary powers of not just the dollar, but also the petrodollar, and then a couple other little schemes with like the Bitcoin treasury and the gold treasury. We're seeing some very interesting things when it comes to gold. We saw all the gold moving around earlier in January of this year. We saw them flying it over the oceans. These nation states, calling in their gold reserves or their gold assets or whatever. We saw this going on. The kind of the last leg of it is the gold aspect, because right now, very interesting thing, and I'm not an expert in this, so feel free to correct me, or if there's some little thing that I'm missing, I'm happy to fill in the gaps. But the basic idea right now is that we don't actually know how much gold we have. The government says they have a certain amount of gold, but that gold's all over the world. Hopefully it got brought back. We know a number of much of gold got brought back from the Vatican, from the Bank of England, these kind of places. But as it stands now, the gold right now is at about 4,000 an ounce, but there's this weird thing when we went off the gold standard and in 79, something like that, the sort of
71, I think,
government declared value of gold in like deep in the document, deep in like the esoterica of 1979, the government claimed gold at a certain price, and it was like $42 an ounce or something, which was the price.
Well, I think it was less than that. Yeah, but
I read around $42, but doesn't matter. It's so on the books, when the government looks at their books and says, we have this much gold, it's worth this much, in their weird legal accounting of the gold they have, it's only valued at $42 an ounce. But that can be updated. And if the government eventually, officially, again, in the sort of weird magic of the legal system and their accounting, which we know their accounting means nothing. They don't even know. You know, by their own audits, they're like, oh, the debt isn't even 37 trillion. It's more like 157 trillion. So, you know, whatever their accounting is worth, they have the ability technically to restate the value of their gold price, the price that the government considers gold to be at. And if they wanted to, they could price it at whatever they wanted. They could say, well, we, as the United States government, we now value gold at 20,000 an ounce. Now, that doesn't mean that immediately you and I holding gold can get 20,000 for it. That just is what the government says that it's worth. Now, eventually, over a few years, the market price would eventually find its way up to that. This actually, we'll talk a lot about this in the upcoming interview that we have coming out with another gold person. So stay tuned for that. Might be today, tomorrow, something like that, something for Thanksgiving for you, which we'll go over this even more. But between the CBDC Genius Act, some more slight inflation, the photocopying of CBDC money of fiat, and then a repricing of gold, this is kind of the economic reset that could at least reinvent the system that makes the $37 trillion debt not be a ticking time bomb. We have to reinvent our way out of this disaster. We're never going to get out of the disaster in the current system. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. Yeah, I looked it up. It was when the government in 1933, when the government basically said, hey, all citizens who hold gold, turn it into the government, executive order. Well, that was when it went off the gold standard. This is 1933 when gold was when the government had the executive order 6102, which basically said, hey, citizens, give us your gold. Gold was priced at $20 per troy ounce. And then the year after, they repriced it in 1934 to $35 an ounce. So after everybody turned in their gold, it went up, whatever.
Yeah, they can just
70%
reprice their own gold whenever they want. Not that it immediately takes that price, but then that creates the market forces for the market to eventually find its way up there.
Yeah.
What was the gold price of 1979?
71, I think, is when it went off the gold standard. So I think it was higher there. Let's see.
Yeah,
price per ounce.
Yeah, no, 1971. Yeah, it was about 38, 40, 42. July 1971.
43. Yeah, 43 per ounce. Yeah, that's you're right. That's when it went off the gold standard. Yeah.
So it's 1979. was when it was priced at $42.
What is gold per ounce today?
Like 4,000 or something.
$4,000. So it's
I think so.
So
yeah,
4,100. Right. Okay. So basically, the value of the dollar since 1971 has dropped 100x.
100x
in effect, right?
That's crazy. Kind of. Yeah, they're related, right? Gold
the
is
purchasing
100
power.
times in gold. Yeah, fiat to gold. It's lost
Fiat to
100.
That's insanity. That's insanity. Okay, well, there you go.
So the AI thing, the Genius Act, the Manhattan Project, Genesis mission, this is not just the total reset of like a our technological dystopian society. It's also the total reset of the economic system. This is it. We're like 5 years away.
Yeah. Yep. And this all lines up with a lot of stuff China. I think this also has to do with China's move for Taiwan and America, that whole thing to avoid any kind of true conflict, or try to anyway. They can maybe do something like this where all of the companies are in line, they're ready to go, so that nobody's necessarily relying on Taiwan for the chip manufacturing, and therefore, China and the US don't have to saber rattle over who controls Taiwan when it comes to that stuff. But it also, man, there's so many things I want to say about it, but because we can go deep into the weeds of the esotericism of it all, right? Because the name Genesis, AI, all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it suggests that we are entering a phase here of true. I don't even want to. I think I made a video in like 2016 or 17, maybe a little later, saying that they're going to call us techno conservatives, because this is all under the purview of conservatism, right? The right, Trump, the Republicans, they're all doing this. Imagine if in 2008, when the crash happened, instead of a bailout, they were just like, we're going to do an executive order that helps innovate building houses or something, right? Like building new style of houses or something. That's effectively what they're doing here. Am I mistaken on that? I mean, they're pretty much saying, hey, we're coming up with a way to fund the operation, because the infrastructure needs to be built, not just to compete with other nations like China, but also to, in the justification of the politicians, maybe prevent a more kinetic confrontation for resources. So, in that sense, maybe this is like the peaceful way out of things when it comes to Taiwan and the chip factories and all that. But also at the same time, it's between a rock and a hard place. We're avoiding that, but we're also accelerating the dystopic technocracy that is encroaching on our lives. Basil, this is the photo of the tech guys. I mean, there's Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, what's his name? Huang from NVIDIA, Puchai, and I forget his name. Is that Tim Cook and Sam Altman, all standing in a circle? They're next to a Cybertruck, which I think is funny. And
Yeah, do we know that this isn't AI?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I believe it was real because people were sharing it, and I tried to look into it to see if it was AI, but there was a couple other ones, and so I don't know. But I mean, the picture, if it is real, it says it all, right? This pretty much says
well, even if it is fake, I mean, it communicates the truth of the situation.
Right. On the heels of that, let me just mention, I thought I had this article pulled up, and maybe I don't, or maybe I got rid of it on accident. Palantir had their full integration into the data centers of the US government. Let's see. Palantir isn't just riding the AI boom, it's orchestrating it. That's according to MSN. Oh, this just came out today, just now. Palantir isn't just riding the AI boom, it's orchestrating it. Are they going to talk about how Palantir got integrated into the government here? The earnings report for NVIDIA, which, by the way, remember just a few days ago, the whole AI bubble conversation, that was last week. Everyone's saying, the AI bubble's too high, it's going to pop, blah, 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 blah. It was before earnings reports for NVIDIA. And that's, NVIDIA was one of the big ones. Michael Burry selling. We covered it all last week. And then the reports came out and they were fine, right? Were they in profit or something? I forget. They weren't.
Fine. Yeah.
They were fine. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, what happens to the whole thing there? Man, where is that Palantir article? I'm trying to find it. I thought I had it here ready to go, but apparently I did not. Because we knew about this from months ago when they were building, when they were integrating themselves into, and I'm speaking of Palantir, into our government systems here. Let me just see if I can find this here. Is this like a newer article? September 30th. I'm not able to find. I thought there was there was news about this more recently of how Palantir has officially integrated their systems into the U.S. government, but maybe it was a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago when all of that was being reported. So never mind.
Okay. We gotta stick to the plan, Gon. Stick to the plan.
I know, but it's just it is something to be said about Palantir kind of in the background, quietly orchestrating this, perhaps, or at least being a big part of this. Because how are you going to manage the chip company with the software companies, and how are we going to do all that? Well, it's somebody like Palantir.
Yeah, of course.
The company is now solidly profitable with revenue coming in from U.S. government contracts, and more importantly, from an expanding list of commercial customers. So there you go. Yeah. And Palantir, welcome to they are the tip of the spear. Welcome to the military industrial complex. You are the new face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been, their core clientele has been the CIA since 2010. So they've always been.
I know, but it's just public now. They're public. They've been brought to the forefront.
You got to get going on that turkey. Get Brian in here. We had a few producers come in to make sure that this show is possible, Gons, and I think we should thank them. That's just my opinion.
Let's thank producers. Let's do it.
We are on the value for value model, folks, which means you can tell no corporate commie or cartel money coming in supporting the show. We don't take any advertisements, no platform partnerships, all the sorts of things that is what this beast system has put together, orchestrated for its own ends, not just for control and for all sorts of justifications like that, but also for the mining, the harvesting, much like AI. Much like the reason AI is free and will never go out of style. Same with advertising, because it's a great way to gain access to the minds, the consciousness of any group of people, as long as the proprietors of that show are ready to hand it off. And that's not what we do here. We're not here to harvest your time, harvest your eyeballs or your ears to go ahead and sell it off like some sort of commodity for our own personal gain. We're on value for value, very simple ragtag group of producers from around the world coming together to make sure that this show is possible. It's very simple. We try to create as much value as we can. If you get any value from what we do, or if you plan on getting value, or if you want to get value, there's an understanding. It's a very sort of primal baseline understanding that if value doesn't come back into the system, then we can't keep doing the show. But people come in, they go, you know what? There's value here I don't get anywhere else. I want to make sure that it happens. And they produce the show, and they produce the show with their time, their talent, or their treasure. Lots of ways to do it. You can get involved, lend us your skills, lend us your time, help us out with projects on the back end or on the front end. Who knows? You can create art, create music, create, pretty much everything you see and hear on the show here was created by a producer at some point. Just for the sake of creating value and putting value back in. If those two don't work for you, you can produce with your treasure. Obviously, always need it. Couldn't do this without our financial producers. And a big old shout out and thank you to all of our monthly producers in whatever amount and whatever frequency works for them. It's very simple. You just go to canarycry.support. There's all sorts of ways to get in there and support the show. But shout out to our monthly producers, everybody from top to bottom. Even if you're coming in for $1 a month, all the way up through the supply drop, etc. We really are so blessed to have your commitment to help us stay alive here. But the executive producers, those are people who come in, support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode. So we thank them profusely. And I want to start with, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, executive producer, Sir LX Protocol V2 Baron of the Brian Protocol.
Baron. Got his own jingle.
Coming in for $100.33.
Illuminatus!
And he's on a 442 episode streak and a 96 episode executive producer streak.
We do have that 100 executive streak jingle that is
right
being dusted off right now for Sir Alex Protocol.
We're going to be prepared for once. Next up, we have executive producer Jinja came in. Thank you very much.
Jinja. Thank you, Jinja.
Jinja came in for a nice round number. And for those who don't know, when you produce the show, if you come in for a nice round number on, say, the 10 or the 5, that's you saying, yeah, we don't need to disclose the amount on the air. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, you can put, you can be like LX Protocol, put 33 cents on there, 77 cents, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have some fun with the number. That's your way of telling us to disclose it on the show. Thank you very much, executive producer Jinja.
Thank you, Jinja. Appreciate you.
Okay, that's our executive producers for today. We had some people come in under the executive producer amount that I would like to thank right now. We have producer Bruce W.
Bruce
W.
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce W. Yeah, Batman. Batman produced the show
Batman gave us
for 11/11.
11/11. Definitely a Gotham number.
Batman says, big cheers from Southeast Queensland, Australia. Been listening a long time and have never encountered anyone else who dissects things like you guys do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Praise God.
We got a few people who signed up for the supply drop. They see an opportunity when one stares them in the face, and so we want to thank them. They went to canarycrysupplydrop.com and they did it before November 30th, which means they are getting the supply drop for the fourth quarter of 2025. They're getting the Canary Cry calendar. They're getting that half gold back, as well as a bunch of other fun stuff. Don't wait, folks. You only got a few more opportunities, a few more days to go over to canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up, keep the show going. In such a time as this, it's obviously needed, and get your introduction to a negotiable gold instrument that is going to change the way we do everything forever. We have producer Aaron B signed up for the supply drop. Thank you, Aaron B.
Aaron B, thank you. Good to see you.
I'll call this person 26 Trails came in, joined the supply drop.
26 Trails.
Caitlin W came in. Thank you, Caitlin W.
Caitlin W, thank you.
Supply dropper. And we had Rod from MMS, from Millennial Mustard Seed.
Hey.
Join the supply drop. Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Go check out Millennial Mustard Seed podcast. Our buddy Rod there, who was also on Canary Cry Clubhouse a few episodes ago. Good stuff.
Nice.
Let's see here. Bethany B joined the Patreon. Thank you, Bethany B.
Thank you. Oh, my microphone.
Let's see here. I don't know if it's the same. It might be the same Aaron B. And Aaron B came in for $7.77 plus fees.
Another Aaron B, huh?
Yeah.
Or same or different?
Oh, this, I don't know. But this Aaron B, looks like he's going to be knighted. He says, I went on a producer run for a while during the first half of the year. Then I just kind of fell away. Well, my life got kind of crazy in between work, becoming more all-consuming, and finances not being quite what they were at the beginning of the year. I haven't been able to have as much expendable income. We get it. No worries, Aaron B. I've still been doing my T-shirt council producership, but the rest of my production has kind of slacked off a bit. One of the things that got missed in the whole thing was that back in July, I crossed over into knighthood. Hey, there we go. Says I'm including my accounting on the email. My support starts back in 2017, though my CCR listening certainly goes back far longer than that. And I'm proud to say that I'm still along for the ride. I love you guys, and I love what you do for the community. I was going to wait for episode 900, but I figured, why not just do this now? I would like to be knighted as, and then he gives his knight name. And let's see. Thank you again for all that you do. Thank you very much, Aaron B.
Thank you, Aaron B.
I'm open to saving Aaron his knighthood for 900. I mean, it's going to be in like a week or something.
2 weeks.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Happy to do it beforehand. Which certainly will be the first thing we do when we get back from Thanksgiving. Thank you, Aaron B.
Yep. Thank you.
A little bit tight on time today, but you are our top priority when we come back. And also, it's kind of fun waiting until 900. We can hold on to it. Just whatever you want. Okay, I want to give a quick thanks to all of our under $7.77 producers. If you come in over $7.77, that gives you the privilege to have a note read on the show. Under 777, we thank you very much. And most of these people are keeping their streaks going. We have, I think I did a whoopsie on something. Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man. It says 16 here, but I don't think it's 16. I think it's like 160 something. We'll figure that out, Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Veronica D on a 525 episode streak.
Veronica D. Man, these are the long timers.
Lifers, yeah. Sir Scott, 574 episodes in a row.
Sir Scott, thank you.
And Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 578.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
There we go. Okay, that concludes our financial producers. Thank you guys very much. Did you check the art before the show, Gons?
No.
So Shoefly, who did the Cage Rattler coffee jingle, did end up sending a shorter, tighter version of the Cage Rattler coffee jingle. He noticed that we had some timing issues before, so he sent a shorter one. Appreciate that, Shoefly. We'll put that on the board. I don't think Gons has it set up now.
I can do it. I can play it.
Okay.
Let's make it happen. Here we go. Why isn't it playing?
Nice.
I hit play.
It's okay.
Wait, no, it played, but it didn't play. What is going on? There we go.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
There we go.
Very good, very bright, a little bit tighter on the front end. Both are very fun. Thank you, Shoefly, for that. Appreciate the production in that way. See, these are
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
Like
I love it so much.
So
I
nice.
it again.
Yeah, it's so nice. He played it twice. Okay. Anything else you have to present to the class?
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
That's it for him. Okay. Big old thank you to the producers who come in with their time, like the time stampers.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't ready for that one.
I know.
It's hard work.
Yeah. And I believe it was load. Jade Bouncerson doing the last episode 894. Thank you.
Of course it was. Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson.
Yep.
Thank you to Jam, who heads up the Telegram channel and sends us some links. Thank you to Adam42, who heads up the Discord channel. If you're a Telegram person or a Discord person, go to canarycry.party. You can find the invite links for both of those communities there. Highly recommend it. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for everything you're doing. Oh, I owe Clank an email. And thank you to Sir Ike, of whom I owe so many things, but thank you for everything you do, Sir Ike. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with the turkey. These ding-dang turkeys need to wake up and realize that the mainstream media does not have their best interests in mind, and there's other things going on. Whatever you do, we call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Look for another video about archetypalism on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Doing a little short one. And if you want to hop in, patreon.com/facelikethesun. You can find out more, because we're trying to write that book. And so far, nobody wants to write it with me, Basil. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to sell it. You got to sell. You got to pitch it. There's a lot more pitching to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Archetypalism too. I like where it's going. I could see maybe someone seeing some connection to like some Carl Jung kind of stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, I know some people who just heard, when they just heard the name, they thought it was like a Carl Jungian kind of esoteric thing, but no, it's just the face value
that
of the
could be
word
part of the fun. If you want to workshop the name with Gons, you can get in there.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah.
No, yes, you're enthusiastic, Gons. You're enthusiastic about people joining you in this problem that you're trying to solve.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, have a happy Thanksgiving and inside the cage.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry, that's a